So in theory, that is the mic. Hey, Art, can you hear us?
He's muted. He's unmuted.
Can you hear me? I got the volume down.
Tested.
No, they do. Trying to adjust sound levels. That's right.
Let's see, your input was the.
Yeah, that should be okay.
You ever wonder in the world of IT if Visual Studio stuff will ever get better? Because, this has been an issue for 40 years. You think somewhere along the line it would get better, but it just seems to get worse.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I had to do a deposition down in Texas, and they were told, oh, it's been canceled. So the videographer and the stenographer,
No show.
they went down to the car and they're figuring out, well, why didn't we get notification? Well, it was a mistake. It was being done on the 17th floor, 19th floor. So they get called, come back up and set up. They've been there for 2 hours. Supposed to start at 10. Now they've got 15 minutes to get set up. So it's obvious they have done this a number of times. Because they're just throwing cords and cables. And as they're doing it, I asked them, well, you ever think about using wireless? I said, oh no, it's got too many glitches. They must have thrown 100 cables around that room.
There you go.
The speakers up on top were off.
Oh,
Okay, Art, can you hear me now?
What's our microphone?
Yeah, that's not it.
best speaker.
Okay.
Test 1, 2. Okay, Art, you should be able to hear me. The more time I spend in IT, the more I like computers, but the less I like for other people to have computers.
Does mine work? Yours don't?
Generally speaking, I can muddle through issues, but not always. And so I had a ticket today. I love tickets. SSH stopped working to this host. So I log in, I become that user. And they're right, SSH isn't working. I stop being that user. I'm me, I SSH to that host, everything's hunky-dory.
Officer third. I think you said there's no sound.
Pretty sure this is on your end. So I add to the ticket, this appears to be an environment issue. There's nothing blocking the two computers from
Oh, goodness.
doing this.
I can't.
It's a developer.
Yeah, of course.
Developers are so damn special. So he gets me on Teams. This is, what can I do to fix this? Like, oh, hold on. So I Googled what are proper permissions for SSH for the directories and stuff. I said, here, top answer in this link at something, I forget what. Well, how do you do that? Yeah, read the instructions. You do what the instructions say. Chmod this folder and so his home folder was 777. .ssh was 777. Every key was 777. Somebody had decided, oh, I can't write here. We'll just make everything wide open. And SSH goes, nope, not now. And yeah, it was entertaining. Why does that matter? Like, because it's Unix, it's not Windows. Yeah, just and that's the kind of ticket I get.
From a
Really.
developer that should know how to do SSH.
Developers know nothing whatsoever about hardware. It
They don't
amazes
know how to
me.
use a computer.
I mean, we've got developers that are good. They write nice code. But if you say, can you compile that to run on ARM? What?
What's ARM?
Yeah.
What's compile?
If they didn't have automatic stuff set up in VS Code,
Yeah.
they would be completely dead in the water.
Oh yeah. That's about half of them or better.
And I finally had a good experience with AI. One.
What?
It took quite a while, but yes, one. I have a Raspberry Pi with a tiny screen on the little baby rack.
Yeah.
And I like the tiny screen. It's great for a dashboard. It is not great if you need to actually type something and see what it says, because the type is
Oh yeah.
tiny. Well, it's 400 pixels in less than 2 inches. So yeah, it's like those little tiny screens that they have on so many things. So I tried to set up a VMC session for a virtual screen, 19.2 by 1080. And I beat my head on it for 2 hours and finally asked Claude or whatever, oh, just do this and this and this. Well, that didn't work. I don't have that desktop. This is a Raspberry 5 with the current Raspberry Pi OS based on Trixie. Oh, just do this. No, that doesn't work. This is the windowing system I've got, and this is what I'm trying to do. Finally got, after another 2 hours, finally got a 19.2 by 1080 screen running,
No.
and they're swapped. So, damn it. And then at some point, I undid something, so my little screen turned back to, so it's not 1280 by 400, it's 400 by 1280. And you have to rotate it in software 90 degrees.
Or lay it out on the desk.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then you've got a terminal that's like 400 lines by 60 characters. That's even worse than by,
Let's see whether we have audio.
okay, I'm sorry. Cheat, 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 cheat.
Chirpy, 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 chirpy.
Recording in progress.
So you're muted.
We have audio.
All right, can you hear that? Oh, no, it's picking me.
Well, that's why I logged in, because I thought it
Make
was
sure we're making.
Yeah.
the setup, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that. I should have already. I forgot. I have that on my phone. On both of them, actually. Company phone. Man. Still not a big fan of that. It just
Yeah.
seems. Anytime I want to do a thing, it's like, no, that's not the Apple.
Yeah, well, it's getting worse every day. Yesterday, I kind of recharged my iPad, and the cable I've used on charging my iPad for years, it's updated now. It won't work unless it's, I guess, an Apple cord now. And I'm like, bloody crap. So I dug around and finally dug up another Apple cord and plugged it in, and it started charging just fine, like do 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 do. I'm like, I used this cable for like a year and a half. Like, you know.
I haven't had it happen on this. Well, this one's USB-C. Marla's got an iPhone that's the Lightning or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And oh, Bert's gone. On hers, it'll be fine. We've got those little magnetic doohies on them. I love those. It'll be fine for months and then not charging. And I check the cable and clean it and everything. Bubblegum works real well for that.
Yeah.
No difference, no difference. Take the lightning connector out, turn it over and put it back in and it goes back to charging.
Yeah.
What did I miss? Why?
Well, that's just, I've got some charge cables that did that on the Apple for a while, but then they don't have pins on one side, right? So it's like
Oh,
you,
neat.
you flip it over, then it's like, oh, okay. So I'm used to flipping them, and I got those mag things for my mom's phone a while back, and she's got one of the newer iPhones. It won't work with them. It just gets real hot and shuts down.
Really?
Yeah, and I put it on mine, it worked fine. I'm like, well, what the, you know? Now I mean, they're not super expensive. They were like close to the cheapest ones you can find on Amazon. They're the same kind that I have on my phone. They work fine. I'm like, well, whatever.
Well, when you brought those in about a year and a half ago, I thought, that's pretty cool. And they ended up getting some.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Julie has managed to break like 3 of them. So I don't have one on my phone anymore,
Yeah.
because they're all consumed with her goods. Well, you're talking about connections. I was working on a project in the garage, get my router out. I plug it in, get all set up, height adjust, got the bit set, turned on, nothing. So I start looking, yeah, I got power. Another thing I gotta fix. I take the router, unplug it, plug it down to the laundry room where I got plenty of light. Take the brushes out, get out the VOM. From one side of the plug to the brushes, got continuous. Other side, I don't. So I start flipping the switch and I have power. That must be the switch. So I'm playing around with it, It just stops working. So I was like, I gotta take this thing apart, get the switch out and find out what's the matter with the switch. Disassemble the thing, get the switch out. There's nothing the matter with it. Like, what is going on here? So I go back to the whole thing again, and I have the same thing, the intermittent failure. So it's like, it's got to be in the cord. I can't believe that it's not the switch, it's the cord, so. I put a pin through the wire so that I can make contact. And I start twisting the cord around, it continues, nope. I start examining the cord has a cut in it. On the power side. Like, how in the world did I cut the cord on the router on just one conductor? Cut it, trim it back so that the insulation is stepped. Do thirds of the wires so that there's no big lump in the snake.
Hmm.
And I don't have shrink tubing that will fit over the wire. So I do the 3 individual ones, I go over to my neighbor and say, you've got.
Well, now you can't get the shrink tubing over the end.
Well, I couldn't get it over the plug anyway, so, but I was able, I haven't soldered it yet. I just have the shrink tube over the insulation. So I slide the heat shrink tubing on that he's got, and I've got a bigger one that's too short. I slide it out from the other direction. Got my helping hands out and I solder the slide the heat shrink tube together. Get out the lighter and decide, okay, I'm ready to heat shrink. Except I don't pick the heat shrink tubing that's over the cut. I picked the heat shrink tubing that's
Over
the solid
insulation.
wire. So, oh no!
I was waiting for you to say you had a problem with the plug. I don't even know where I got it, but I have in the world of IT, of course, and a cable guy that I am, I have like, probably in grand scheme of thing, a tote of power cords for desktop computers. I had a computer that would power and like sometimes it wouldn't. And it was like, what the heck's going on? And you unplug it, right? And you look at the prongs and all the prongs are there. You go to plug it in, one of the 2 prongs would slide into the molding. And then when you unplug it, it'd be in it just enough to pull it back out of the so it wouldn't go all the way into the outlet to actually make contact with the post inside the plug. And I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. It took me forever to figure out what the crap was going on. Because it's like, it was just working. And then it's like, it's not working. And then you pull it out. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with it. You plug it back in. It's like, it's dead. What?
Yeah, I'm on the call right now.
When I worked at PC Upgrades, we built a machine for somebody and sent it home, and they came back with the machine, it doesn't work. I plugged it in, it's fine, it's great, it's asking for a new username, never been booted before. So we did the Alt F whatever to get past that, but Jesus, I've forgotten how to get back to sysprep in Windows. Send her home. She comes back, doesn't boot. Have you got plugged into an outlet strip or what? And
What do you mean,
No.
plug it in?
we told her, bring back everything that we do. She does. She brings back the keyboard and the mouse and the computer and all the cables and everything. And the IEC cable didn't have one pin on the computer end. Okay, well, that doesn't happen often, thankfully. Gave her a new cable and everything was good.
Still in an outlet somewhere.
It's like the help joke. Guys, lean over and look in the back, make sure it's plugged in. Oh, I can't see back there. Well, I can't. Well, there's no lights. Well, why aren't your lights? Oh, the power's off in the building. You still have your original boxes. And bring it back. Pack everything up and send it back. It's under-
That's originally attributed to WordPerfect help desk.
I liked WordPerfect.
I did too. I've still got it.
I don't.
WordPerfect runs in Linux. They made WordPerfect 5 for Linux and distributed it with Corel Linux, which went away, but WordPerfect remains.
I miss Corel Linux. Well, I still got a disk of that somewhere.
It was okay. It was kind of rough around the edges compared to,
It was brand spanking new.
yeah.
But it was the first OS that you could just drop in and it installed itself.
Oh, I disagree, but okay.
Well, they did when we were messing with it. It was like Windows couldn't do that. You'd have to
Okay.
tell it. You just put the disk in, you closed it at boot, and be like, like pick a drive and then reboot and be on the computer. I'm like, wow, that is freaking sweet. And it lasted what, 8 days, 7 days before Microsoft bought them out and pulled the distro.
Oh, I didn't know that's what happened.
Yeah.
So Novell owned Corel for a while,
Yeah.
and I know Novell pumped some money in, or Microsoft pumped some money into Novell, so that's probably when that happened.
No, I was saying that from what I understand, because they, like, from what I heard, or like I said, we were messing with it at work, and it was like, I thought, dude, this is awesome. And he said, because it was free, it had a Office suite pre-built into it. It was a drop in and boot, and it was like, I don't even think it made it through. I think it like made it through, like, I think it came out like on a Wednesday, and like by Wednesday the next week, it was like whacked. The website was gone, and Microsoft had squashed it and owned the rights to Corel. And I was like, that's weird. Because I was like, well, that was, signs that it was going to impact Microsoft Office really good.
Well, maybe I've missed it, but on WordPerfect, you can embed a foreign file. And if you updated the foreign file, whenever you updated or brought up your document, it would bring in the current version of it, which I thought was really pretty handy.
Yeah.
I was writing hundreds of confined space entry permits, and I didn't have to update every hazardous material in all of them. I could update it in one location.
Yeah.
But I don't see that there's an equivalent in Word.
Nope.
Um,
I don't think so.
yeah, it probably is. I'd be really, because you can pull data out of a spreadsheet and incorporate it into Word.
Yeah.
And that's all URL based now, so it should work. How to do it, I don't know.
Well, I haven't had any need for it for 25 years, so
Yeah,
it's
Nice.
not something I'm gonna go exploring. But it was frustrating at the time.
well, 25 years ago, no, there probably wasn't a way to do it.
What to say? Yeah. Microsoft always destroyed anything with better features.
Yeah, I have a thing called Smart Suite. It was very nice word processor database, spreadsheet, contact manager.
Where'd you get that?
It was made by Smart Incorporated.
Okay.
And it was cheap. It was like $40 for 4 license pack. And it worked really well. It just didn't make the transition to Windows well. It was all character based, and it predated a lot of stuff. So you still can't hear us, Art?
I can hear you fine now.
Ah, cool. What was wrong?
Damned if I know. So I just started changing things, and I did restart Zoom, and it seems to be working okay now. So,
Cool.
I
Zoom being Zoom.
I'm sorry?
I said Zoom being Zoom.
Yeah, well, yeah, something like that. Um,
The last version, the
I
new
thought it
one.
was the new version of Zoom. I have the latest version of Zoom, which is what 1.5 something, and I thought maybe that had screwed things up. Nope. Um, I'm running the latest version right now, and it seems to be working fine. So I have no idea. There's some configuration parameter that has its own mind, shall we say.
Let's say last week I had to reboot or last time I was virtual or whatever, I had to reboot Zoom for some reason to get audio. I had no idea what the deal was.
Well, I was in school with a woman who went on to the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and her job was to keep track of all the changes that were made in the entire plant.
Yeah.
And I said, why would you need to do that? She said, well, let me give you an example of how this started. During World War II, the German V weapons were notorious for blowing up. And the scientists that were working on them changed stuff, and they changed stuff, and they changed stuff, and it worked.
But nobody knew what they did.
And Hitler says, do it again.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy that reports to him, well, we would, but we don't know what we did.
I don't know what's working. The game I'm playing right now, they're having that kind of a problem with. It's like they've been programming this game for like 12 or 14 years now. It's still in alpha, and they've just now realized that they need change control
Ooh,
because they're people are fixing bugs, but then other people are, adding more features, and it's reintroducing the bug from 2 years ago, or
right.
3 years ago, because they're using the code that they got on their box instead of the revamped code somebody else did from another module. And it's like, wow, you guys should have found that out
A long time.
long
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, I was using Bazaar before Git
Yeah.
for version control, and it was cryptic. And then I tried to learn Git, and Bazaar was so simple after that. Git
I hate
is so bizarre. I mean, they got their names swapped, but once you get Git set up properly and get your scripts and your login set up properly, Git is perfect and seamless. It
Yeah.
just,
Works.
yeah. I mean,
That would be some reason everybody likes it.
you log in, it checks, it says, this has been updated, this has been updated, this has been updated. Do you want to pull in changes? And if you say no, it doesn't, but it moves your stuff to staging. And if you say yes, it pulls everything in and it just works. But oh yeah, setting up your bash RC file, it, it's paragraphs of stuff added.
Yeah.
I think I finally got it.
I haven't messed with it yet, but I was looking at there's a web-based version to get for, or like as a VLC container, like
Okay.
it's like T something or teacup, or it's got some weird name, but it's basically a Git repository self-hosting
Cool.
GUI that simplifies the bejesus out of the Git, and then it's locally hosted, so it's not out in the cloud somewhere where everybody can see your source code.
Well,
Thinking about playing with that, and I just haven't gotten around to it.
I think TIG is wonderful. Gotta take this out of full screen.
All I can remember is it's keep wanting to say T or something like that.
Is it TIG?
I don't know what it might be. I said I haven't looked at this stuff for a couple months, but I had my glorious power outage this week. I have
Yeah.
finally redone half the wiring for the network that I've been wanting to do for 2 or 3 years, and I'm on my new firewall. So with the Proxmox server in place now instead of my old ESXi box, and planning to start building out some nicer stuff.
So this is TIG. There's been 62 commits since I built this machine. I just installed Tiger VNC tools and Common and got rid of Tight VNC, and apparently I didn't have Groth installed. So these are the files that changed and what happened.
Hmm.
I, this has saved me so many times. What happened
That broke
on
what?
the 5th that made this thing stop? And I can go in here and see, and it tells me, oh, you installed XYZ and it changed these folders and files, and I can go put that back.
Oh, yeah,
Undo.
that would be wonderful.
It is. But I mean, so this is specifically for slash Etsy X11 app defaults GXDIT view. Didn't even know that file existed, but it was just created here because the minus, this minus minus minus, oh, I lost my mouse here, with dev null means that the old version didn't exist. It was a null file. And the new thing that exists now is now missing. I must have pasted that. Don't do that.
Yeah, we're changing a lot of variables lately. Which is, so I've been digging through the new version of Proxmox, and like, it's like, if you're editing here, you should be editing this over in the new
Mhm.
config files. And
But this is the contents of GX view. And GX view color. It didn't exist before, so it's putting in all of the lines of that file. And if I make a change to a file, then it will just show the changes between the previous version and this version. It's, if you're running Linux, this is an amazing thing. And apparently, something changed that I don't know about, or I didn't make the change myself because it didn't auto commit.
it's a secret.
Yeah. Etsy Keeper is amazing when you use it with Git, and TIG is handy for just reviewing it. You've got to use Etsy Keeper to put things back, but this can tell you what to put back. Yeah, my normal build is do an install Etsy Keeper, TIG, and Git. Then update the software. I put in Etsy Keeper before the initial build. So initial commit, it committed everything, and then made after upgrade -y. So Pep's daemon changed from version 247-1.2 Ubuntu 7.3 to 7.9 in the update. So if you need to see what changed, this is it. And that one will be big. And actually not that bad. Those are all packages. The minus sign is package removed and a plus is the package installed.
Replaced. Go with the new version.
Fun choice. How do I stop sharing? Over here. He's helped me learn more about Git. A lot, actually. It's been pretty beneficial. I just ordered a couple more of those because they're handy. And it's the only way to get just the ends. It's weird. The ones that you can still find that have USB-C, Apple, Lightning, and micro USB, which I don't have much that uses. They're like $15 a cable. But if it's just micro and USB-C, they're $3 a cable.
Yeah. Well, that's what was weird because the kits I bought, you get a mix of like 5, 5, and 5,
Mhm.
and it came with 6 cables for like $8 or $7.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is awesome. So like we got to like the little short cables, like the like 7-foot cables, and it's like
And cables that I bought, the 7-foot cable is like really
yeah,
substantial. It's like, you
a
know,
nice
not
cable.
quite a
Yeah.
garden hose, but it's,
But as I say, I plug it into mom's phone, that cable gets hot as crap, and it's like the iPhone like and shuts off. It's
Huh.
like it's drawing too much juice or
I wonder if you put it
thermal.
on a crappy little tiny charger that doesn't supply as much current, if it'd be okay.
I don't know. She used it for like a day or two. It didn't work worth its crop on hers. They worked on mine. I was like, whatever. And then mine got an update, and mine was like, and the iPad started giving me issues, and I went back to I have like a 3-in-1 cable or whatever that has 3 strands. I've been using that for the last umpteen months, and then I had it plugged in for 3 hours yesterday. It was at 12% when I was in. When I checked it after 3 hours, it was still at 12%. I'm like, when I flipped the cable, and an hour later, it was still at 12%. I was like, all right, rooted around, dug up another Apple cable, swapped it out, and 5 minutes later, it was at 19%. So I was like, what the crap?
I will give it. Apple makes good hardware.
Yeah, they're
They
just they want to make sure you're using their hardware and not somebody else's.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the part I don't like about Apple.
But I don't know what they did in the last patch to distinguish between that. Because usually it was you got the current, it's fine. I knew there was chipping in their old Thunderbolt stuff, but I hadn't had problems with it charging my older iPhone stuff for a long time.
well, Julie's a member of the West Elton meeting of Society of Friends, Quakers. And they've been up there for 205 years. And she was asked to take over the job as treasurer. Well, okay. So we meet with the people that had been doing it. And they have some counts, but they don't remember the usernames or the passwords. And anything that's older than 6 months, well, I don't figure we need that, so we just threw it away.
Oh, God.
And we go to set up an account to pay the electric bill. And Duke Energy says, well, give us your tax identification number. And so we go hunt through everything we've got, and we said, well, here's this. And they said, that's valid. We get on the web and we start looking. We go through everything there. The applications, the rejections, number doesn't exist. I'm thinking I'm not searching the database correctly, so I download everything to a comma limited value file, load it up and do a search. No, they're not in there. What I hunted by every conceivable name they could have been over the last 205 years. Turns out that the woman had it under her own social security number at her home address.
Mm-hmm.
And so we said, we like to change this, to make it the treasurer at the post office box for the meeting house. And they said, well, you can't do that unless you have a valid tax ID. And we called the government, and they said, oh yeah, it's under, it was listed under the name of the property, which was the name that was supplied like in 1850.
Yeah.
We've been going through trying to slowly bring everything under the same name
Yeah.
process.
I bet that's an interesting adventure.
I had no concept that anybody could be. I hope nobody's listening from West Elton, friends. I had no concept that anybody could be so reckless about stuff.
Oh, you'd be surprised,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to business paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could probably, I'm not gonna tell you some stories about some townships in this state that makes that look pretty good.
Oh, but what brought me to that is you were talking about Apple stuff. The woman who had been doing the work as a treasurer and an Apple machine.
Yeah.
So I show up with a flash drive and said, just make us a copy. And she goes, I don't have any plugs like that.
What age Apple?
It's a little C, it doesn't have regular USB. So I didn't have any flash drive, but
I was waiting for you to say it was like, one of those cubes or something from like 20 years ago.
no, she had
Modern
a
Mac Mini or something.
it was a Mac laptop.
Oh,
But I asked her, can you just attach them to an email and send them to me? And she didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it can't be that hard. So let me drive for a minute. I couldn't even find her file directory.
Yeah.
What am I dealing with here? How do people use this?
I understand. They're designed by artists and they're backwards in so many ways. But in a lot of ways, they're brilliantly put together too. So it's like there are things in Mac I'd love to see in Windows, but there are things in Mac that are like, what the are you guys thinking? But I love how everything for an app is in its own folder, and if you grab that folder, you have everything you need for that. So if you want to pull that off and drop it over here, and it'll just work over there. That's a nice feature, but their file structure systems, a lot like Linux too, though everything's a file. I mean, it is a derivative of a Linux, but it is weird. Darwin makes me want to pull my hair out half the time. The bootloader or whatever. But, it's hard to navigate if you're not used to it, because everything's in its own little world.
Well, I certainly wasn't going to be able to do anything in 2 minutes. So I'm sitting in
Yeah.
the machine.
Well, that's what's even more annoying is like, if you go to Finder and you pull up Finder, it's like, yeah, you can find the documents, you can get the pictures easy, you can get anything on the desktop's the easiest thing to get to. But when you go into like add it as a thing for the menu, well, that's another whole drop down. Along with the drop downs to get back enough windows to go down the right directory structure to get to your documents or files. If it's not one of those pre-built folders, is a joke. Because it kind of wants to obscure the whole file structure system, because the Mac people don't know what files are, right?
I'm thinking still, I walk over and I open the drawer
Yeah,
and there's a file folder.
yeah,
It's a hanging file folder and there's a subfolder with it. And there's files that, I'm interested in.
yeah.
It's like, they don't even have the damn file cabinet in
Yeah.
the house.
It's there, it's just hidden,
And
and it's hidden good.
they have-
They don't want people messing with the files.
Well,
So
perhaps that's a good idea.
well, because that's the thing too, is like you can delete your files, right? And then the app doesn't work anymore. That's an interesting mechanic too, because of the way they store everything. The Windows would do well for some of that, to hide some of the, that's like where Microsoft hides stuff in the systems 32 folder or this and that, because of the important things, so you can't blow the operating system up.
Well, you can, but you have to work.
You have to know what you're doing, Mac, it's not so bad. I think you could blow up a Mac just because you delete this folder. Well, that's half your operating system, and it's gonna keep you from doing it. But you don't know that directory structures even exist because it's not visible.
Wait, on Mac, you're running as a user that can delete something and
Oh,
slap in?
I can't imagine you can't. I don't know.
If you
Maybe
need to
modern.
do sudo or something,
Yeah.
fine, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it'd probably prompt you for a password, but yeah,
Okay.
if you didn't know any better, you just type the password, you wouldn't realize hey, that subfolder in that directory structure included your system stuff, right? It's like doing a rm minus r asterisk in Linux, it was like, okay, are you sure you want to do that? And it'd be like, Mac would be like, oh, okay.
Well, yes and no. If you're a normal user, you
Yeah.
have to say, I want to do this as root, I want to delete the root directory.
Wow.
It doesn't say anything other than give me your password, though.
Yeah, well,
But
I'm saying,
I don't,
as a user, you're, if it's your personal Mac, you are the box controller. There is no, nobody created a user account level for controller with
still has
OS.
root.
Yeah,
I mean, it's BSD, it still has a root account, and users aren't created
be able to
by
smoke those.
default being able to bypass that.
Yeah. I don't know. I would say I've never tried to do it on a Mac. I've seen being able to move things around in Mac and stuff without any security and like that just kind of freaks me out. So like I say, when you copy, like if you've got Photoshop installed, you can just copy the Photoshop folder to another computer and it just works. Right? There's no, but it didn't used to be anyway. Like there might be nowadays, but when I work with them a lot, it just, you find that folder called Photoshop, you can put it on another Mac wherever you want, and it's fine. Yeah.
Installation file.
Right, there's no password query, there's no, you just, because you had to have that when you did the install. If you made the verification on that box, you're fine, whatever box you smacked it onto. Now, probably changed in the last few years. I don't play with a Mac very heavily anymore, but I always thought it was kind of a neat, but then I know they're cracking down on that kind of stuff because I've been trying to figure out how to get stuff. Like I have an old iPad that has apps on it that aren't available in the stores anymore, and I don't want to lose them, but I don't know how to pull them off, and those folders are encrypted now and tied to that device, right? So how do you extract something off an old iPad and drop it on a new iPad because of the encryption for the drives are different. Mac might do that on their desktops and stuff now, or laptops. I said, I don't show out the thousands of dollars to play on a Mac, so, but it definitely worked on my mini Mac. But I always thought it was interesting too, the mini Mac did not enjoy running heavy apps. Because it gets hot and throttles and then like what's you pulling up there?
This is the Raspberry Pi at home. This is a Pi 5 with an NVMe drive on it. It's surprisingly big. Yeah. Yeah, this was a fun thing. So this is a really nice toy to have. I use this at work a lot. Because every time I set up a crash card, somebody comes in and swipes the cables off of it. I set up a monitor and it's got VGA and a VGA to DVI adapter and HDMI and display port. And it's perfect. One USB cable that goes down to the end, they're all bundled together. It's got the reverse IEC connector so I can plug it into the rack, plug into any computer in the thing. And then 2 days later, my card's gone. So I've got one of these and I carry this. This is a crash card. That will hook up to DVI, display port, you know, yeah, DVI, display port, HDMI mini, VGA, mini DVI. There's nothing that at Siemens that I can't connect to. Works great.
Run into.
But you need a very specific serial port driver, and it's here somewhere. And you can download it, but then you've got to come here, find your kernel, and download the patch for it. Patch this thing that you're about to build and put into your system tree. Luckily, it's like 20K worth of code, so pretty easy to look through and go, yeah, okay, I don't see anything calling home.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was learning Chinese. And it's the CH372 something, not one of these. I don't know. Now I probably clicked on something over here on accident. Yeah, here it is. Well, no. Yeah, no. CH343 something .zip. But that was fun. But yeah, this is a very cool toy. You've got a single USB-C cable that goes to the computer that you're going to display everything on. And then those two hook up to your target computer. The USB drive can hook to either, you flip the switch and it connects to the host or it connects to your target. Very cool set. And if you ever need to hook up to a computer and you don't have this stuff, let me know. I probably do.
Well,
A lot of cameras use the US or the HDMI mini. I don't know why.
she had on the laptop, her Mac, that port right there.
USB-C, okay,
I don't see that.
because that isn't technically video. And no, I don't have the stuff to go from that, but technically, you should be able to run a USB-C to C cable and see what's on the other thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just looking and thought,
Now, if you took you can put a USB-C to HDMI adapter on there, and now I can hook up to it with this.
okay, well, I'm not doing anything because we're not going back there. We didn't get anything the first time.
Another option on that,
They do make those dongles, but
yeah, I don't know if it's still a thing or not. Android Air something. There was a thing where on an Android phone,
Well,
you run an application on it, and now you can go to a PC and open it. When you run it, it says my IP is 192.168.7.10. And now on your PC, you go to that, and it opens up a web page that is a VNC session to your phone. And you can copy files and do a lot of stuff.
I wasn't really interested in doing anything at her house with the phone. I had my little thumb drive, my little flash drive, and I was expecting to be able to copy files to it. So I suspect that there is a USB to C adapter for thumb drives.
oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, every thumb drive in the world is useless without it.
Yeah, they make those. There's another USB-C to A adapter on the end of my 2.5 gig network switch or plug. I mean,
There's that option.
I actually went to unplug it this morning because it's my management network and I had it patched in to do patches to the Proxima server when I was messing with it. And I forgot that it has a USB-C to A adapter on the end. So when I pulled it out of the computer and it came apart, I thought the plug came out of the prong and left the end of the computer.
There's this option. They make these both direction, USB A to C and USB-C to A.
That's what is on the end of my network dongle.
It was one of those things I never anticipated I would need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's a new form. It's like Apple's gone all USB-C because they own the rights, I guess, to some level of it, and so they don't
No,
have to.
because Europe said do USB-C or we're not buying your toys.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I knew it was mandated from somewhere. I just figured if they were circumventing having to pay somebody royalties to something, but Apple's all in on it, and Dell's going that way on some of it.
Somewhere in here, I would have sworn I had just that little adapter, but I'm not seeing it. Got this. This is a cool toy. I can remember how to open it.
No, card reader.
Yeah, cat card reader. For credit cards and corporate IDs that have the little credit card doohickey on them. We have a set of keys on these, SSH and whatever we use to sign encrypted email.
Yeah.
If anybody ever needs one of those, let me know. I've got a box of them. Because all of our laptops have a cat card slot in them, so.
You get fancy out with my computers and start needing a badge to log in.
This one does fingerprint.
I don't do biometrics.
Why?
Because they can cut your finger off and use it without you.
Makes the body redundant.
Yes, it does. Like, I like my stuff attached to me. You want access to my computer, take the card. I don't, you know.
I wanna be able to sit down at home on the desktop. Go where I wanna go. I don't wanna have to have two forms of authentication.
Identification and a
Three
three phones and a email check, yeah. That's that fast track got, I don't know, a couple of months back or something, they started doing like a daily verification. So every time I log onto my phone, it wants to send me a PIN code to my email. I was like, well, I don't have email on my phone. You know, it's like I can't, like, I'm at the site, I can't do the verification pin on demand, you know, and then they got to where it's like it's good for the day. So like, so if I log in before I leave the house, I'm fine for that day. And then they finally, I don't know if that's gone away or just stays logged in now, but my phone doesn't ask for it every day anymore, like once a month or something.
Toys. I like to share my toys.
You have cool toys. You find interesting things, things I've never seen or heard of before half the time.
Well, this thing was relatively inexpensive. I had one of these made by Sabrent,
Yeah,
whatever.
Sabrent, that was probably $200.
Oh, no, keep going.
400.
It was $500
Yeah.
for the kit with VGA, DVI, might have had HDMI. I don't know. This was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And the box at the end of the USB 2 cable was this big, and heavier than this. So it came with the USB 2 cable, the box, and two sets of cables. I think it was VGA or DVI. And they weren't interchange. I mean, it wasn't like an adapter.
Yeah.
It was DVI-D or VGA. And it was $495. And I didn't pay for it, but
Yeah.
the boss that did pay for it left, and it became mine. So stuff happens. I have a fluke meter somewhere from that same boss. The cable meter, not a power meter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this was $70. It didn't have all the toys with it. It was just HDMI, and everything else is just stuff I already had on hand. But these things, the little double-ended USBs, the AC, those are handy. That's good for getting data from something you got to something somebody else has. It pretty much always works.
Yeah. Micro Center has some of those.
Mhm.
Seen them a time or two. I've thought about it, but I
They,
haven't pulled the trigger yet.
I've got one in here from Micro Center.
So, yeah. I just
Yeah, they're this
have like
another $1.
yeah.
I don't know.
I've just never ran into the absolute have to have USB-C for anything yet, other than charging phones or the little charge pads or whatever is the only thing I got to take USB-C.
I still hate USB-C, but I also recognize that I'm just screaming into the fog.
Yeah. It breaks so easy though.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm gonna snap that tab off just like it was nothing.
I'm glad that when I dropped this laptop with the Dell charger in it, that it was the Dell charger that broke and not the laptop.
Yeah.
Because I opened this. On the older Dells, they had a big barrel jack. And that barrel jack by itself was a separate thing. It wasn't soldered to the motherboard. It had a flexible cable that went to the motherboard. And it was screwed to the metal shell of the case. And you could buy one. They were $12. So if you somehow managed to mangle that thing, you could replace it.
Yeah, it's plugged in and you walk away.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I like these magnetic chargers, because,
Pops off.
yeah. And I'm not constantly plugging and unplugging.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that hasn't become the standard, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Just a mag cord connector and get rid of the frickin' plugs on that kind of stuff.
I have always assumed that the reason that Apple got rid of the MagSafe thing, the original one,
Yeah.
not their current inductive thing, was because people would walk away and the charger would fall over the back of the desk and land on a pile of staples and then short out, do bad things. But for low power stuff where it can't make enough of a spark to do any damage, I don't know what that power supply would do.
well, Julie's got a number of things that have the USB for power.
Mhm.
And I think that's where all the magnetic connectors are. Cause I know I don't have any anymore. But, even for just power supply, I don't think they're universal. Are they?
No,
What's that?
Yeah.
there's 5 volt stuff, there's PD stuff. There are power supplies that will only go up to 15 volts, and PD specifies up to 58 or something. I mean, the full. So yes, there are many different ways of doing USB-C still. That little plug-in block technically says that it should be able to do 140 watts. 120, sorry.
Oh, Steve, I'm shocked.
I think it will.
Yeah, it'll shock you.
Um,
Under the right circumstances.
yeah. It will go up to at least 32 volts.
Julie was replacing the 9 volt batteries on our smoke detectors. And it reminded me, I had some devices that were noise dosimeters. And they would take a sample of noise 4 times a second. And cumulatively give you a minute by minute readout of what the sound levels were that a person had exposure to during the day. And they were a great device. They ran off a 9 volt battery. But the 9 volt battery would only last 1 day. If you tried the 2 days, it quit about 6 hours in. So we had 16 of these that we put out every day. So if you can imagine how many,
You stock in
50%.
Dell, or I mean Duracell.
yeah, 50% charged 9 volt batteries we had at 16 volt batteries a day. And my sampling technician would always take a pocket full home with him every day. Until one day, that guy got across the terminals and he hopped up and starts dancing around at his desk.
Got him, did it?
I hooked up 9 volts end to end to get up over 100 volts.
Wow.
That was fun.
Got a key completed 9 volt in my pocket once.
Yeah.
That tickled.
When I was in 5th grade, I was helping the science teacher clean out some cabinets in the back of the room, and she found a battery. Didn't know what it was. Big Eveready cat symbol on the front of it, and I thought it was a B battery, which is 30 something volts. It's like, oh, can I have that? Because Dad had some old radio equipment, and B batteries are hard to come by. She's like, okay. And I took it upstairs. Me and my best friend were in a room by ourselves. Everybody else is out at recess or something. And I'm looking at this and I realize it's not a B battery. It doesn't have the right terminals. It's just not right. Huh, I wonder what's in it. So I got the scissors out of the teacher's desk and I'm cutting this thing open. John's sitting at a desk near me. He's enraptured in what's going on. And all of a sudden, I'm 2 desks back. It was a 650 volt flash battery. Wow. And it went, and I'm leaning against the metal radiator, cutting into it with the metal scissors, and oh, John laughed. Not fun at all.
He's like, I feel weird.
Never told any of the teachers about that or anything. But so 9 volt batteries are weird. Some of them have 6 quadruple A cells cylinders in them. Some of them have 6 stacked cells that are the size of the silhouette of a 9 volt. And the ones that had the quad A's didn't have as much of a charge. But this was the 9 volt flat pack cells sealed up in wax. It was kind of a cool battery. Old photo flash battery. It's still seared into my mind.
Permanent memory.
Yeah, I used to help her clean out those things all the time. At one point we were doing, so I never paid attention in class because we had extra credit stuff we could do that was like ahead of where the class was at. And she had this box of cards, 8.5 by 11 each, and it was do this thing. And so I'd sit there and do those. There were black boxes. What's inside this box? And you could roll a marble around inside of a sealed black plastic box, and you were supposed to figure out where the dividers and stuff were. And one of them was for doing electrical circuit. How does a 3-way switch work? Or a 2-way, depending on who you're talking to. Right? Like, oh, I know this one. And she's like, well, can you set it up? We had light bulbs and stuff. Sure. And I took a foam tray and some thumbtacks, and I found this metal ribbon, and I'm using that as wiring, and because it's nice and flat, it goes between real easily. Turns out it was magnesium.
Mm.
That was fun.
Just random magnesium laying around in strips, do you?
It was a spool of it. I took some of that home.
My friend worked for a metal recycling company in Kansas City. He was the lab analyst. And he had his own little lab where he would have to assay the stuff that they had purchased, determine the amount of water that would come off of it, and the amount of oils and stuff. And he thought he had aluminum shavings when in fact he had magnesium shavings. And he said the people out there that regularly blew up things in the recharging recycling area came in and said, what was that?
Big white flash.
Purple.
Yeah, I had a magnesium chainsaw at one point, but it was
Not a
good.
bad day.
It had a very bad day. The piston was seized in the cylinder and it wasn't fixable. And Dad and I decided to see what would happen if we tossed it on a fire. That was bright. It was not a bright idea, but it was a very bright thing to do.
So my nephew is in a pawn shop down in Florida. He's just rubbernecking what's going on with his buddy, seeing what's in there. The guy comes in with a chainsaw and the handle laid out. And the pawn shop guy says, "No, I don't want it." And so my nephew follows him out. He's been a small engine mechanic his entire life. Follows him out, says, "Hang on a second. How much do you want for it?" $5, he says. "Just a second." So he goes in and he says, "Can I borrow this wrench?" The guy says, "No, you have to buy it." He says, "I had to pay $1 for this Craftsman wrench." It was a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
So he went out and disassembled it, fixed it, put it back together, and says, "I'll only give you $3 for it."
Huh.
And it was one of those things where you knew it was one of two things: either it was worthless or it was easily repaired.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chainsaws are easy. Until the piston stops moving, they're fixable. They've got easily replaceable bearings. You can't buy pistons for them. If you could, you can fix that too.
Well, little electric chainsaw guy gave me, and he says, "I'm pretty certain that the keyway is gone, because you can just feel that it's there." So I took it home, and took it apart. No, the keyway wasn't gone. The nylon gears, all the teeth had been sheared off of it. Yeah, it's got great needle bearings. It has other handy, useful things that are junk.
Plastic part.
Yeah.
You can swap the piece, probably 3D print you a new plastic part and be good for another 3 weeks.
If it was a steel, you could buy that gear. Was it orange?
I looked it up online, no longer available.
Yeah,
One of the coolest things I had,
always make a metal one.
I had a catalog from Bearings Incorporated, which used to be a local bearing
Yeah.
dealership. And it was a cross-reference of what fit what. And I used to use that on HP repair stuff all the time because they had a lot of parts in common with Canon and Brother. And you'd have to do a repair on an HP, and this little plastic gear was $12 from HP. It was 38 cents from
Brother.
well, no, it was 38 cents from Brother.
Okay.
And it was a list of direct replacement parts out of other printers. That was,
They are destroying all that now. Yeah, for cars and everything. But yeah, I've been working on a buddy's 801 Power Master Ford tractor, and I think I mentioned something about that last time. The oil, it's got an oil air filter, and so the 801 got a special air filter. It was 172 CFM instead of 120. I get the rest of them, Ford made are 120, except for this one, and it's 5.5-inch diameter thing with an oil thing. The oil pan is rotted out, and the whole canister itself has never been post manufactured. There's no money in it because it's a one-off, right?
Yeah.
And so I did manage to find a outfit that has the pan, because that pan was used in Massey Ferguson and a John Deere or something. So it's in green instead of red. But digging around, because I was like, I'm not into this stuff really. And I was like, you used to be able to, when I was a kid, you'd walk into a hardware store or a Smyths and be like, I need a part for this. And the old timers would be, oh, here. And they'd hand you, here's the Massey Ferguson, blah, 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 blah. That'll fit your Ford just fine, That stuff's gone, So digging around and finally got AI to it tracked down the part after like 2 hours and found a site that, and said, yeah, that'll work on the 172 CFM. I was like, cool. So, but it like, one of the places we checked was KOI there in town. And I guess KOI has just acquired Smites, and they
Oh,
had
really?
just spent the last month trash canning all the old parts that they had on their shelving, because, and getting rid of all the books of the cross-reference sheets, so like when you go in there and walk now, if they don't have the computer package, oh, if it's not for this, well, you're SOL. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, because I remember, Dad's Jeep, you know, they had parts from Chevy, Ford, whatever, none of the parts actually came from Jeep. So like the old timer guy there in Kentucky used to be like, oh yeah, you just need one of these from that or this or that, that's all dying out. And then all the computer cross-reference stuff, people don't want to pay the $1,000 a month subscription for the cross-reference sheet. So there's like they're erasing all of that in all these art stores.
I just noticed, have you ever seen the movie that The Mandalorian was based on?
Star Wars.
Well, I would assume that you're talking about the old Japanese
In
60s movie.
1954, black and white,
Yeah.
Seven Samurai.
Oh, I've seen the Seven Samurai.
Okay,
I
yeah,
didn't know it was based on that. I figured it was one of the others from back then, Matsushita or something.
yeah, it's Seven Samurai.
Have you ever been to Robert's Tractors out in morning sun? You need parts, they likely have them. It's a heck of a drive, but it's worth it.
Yeah. No, it just that just drove me that they, that's all going away. And like there's one hardware shop. The son came back and took it over from his dad when his dad passed. He didn't really want to, but he's retirement age now. So, well, might as well something to do.
Yeah,
And it's funny 'cause we went in there last summer or something. And he's like, yeah, it's like I've only been here for like 7 months, and he's like, you guys look like you might know what you're doing around here. And he pulls out 4 things from under the counter. And he said, what are these? Dad looks at him for a minute, tilts his head, like, oh, I've seen that. I don't remember. And I'm like, dude, I have no idea. He just had some really old house stuff that's like, "Brr."
reminds me of the Woody Allen movie Sleeper,
Oh, that's great.
where he wakes up some point in the future, and they say, well, perhaps you remember these things. And one of the things they pull up is a picture of Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
Oh no, everything about this man has been erased.
Oh, Camden. Yeah, Camden and Morning Sun are about the same. Mostly smaller equipment.
Yeah.
Little Fords, but they've got 25 acres of parts
Yeah.
back here behind all of this stuff.
Well, that was,
It's where 177 and 732 split as you're going north up 732. They've been there. I mean, I was going here with my dad when I was 10, getting parts for my Gibson. So,
well, that's what's weird to me is, so this was, so what year was the 801 was manufactured, what, 56 to 63 or 64, something like that. Anyway, his grandfather bought it new, and he said he'd wash it and clean it after every use, so, and then he parked it in the garage when he was like 6 years old, and it's sat there since. He's 33 now. And I guess since there was no oil in the oil for the air filter pan, it's rusted out the bottom of the pan.
well, water got in, sank to the bottom.
Anyhow, whatever. It was dry, but I mean, it was just rusted out. And it's like, that seemed odd that a oiled part would rust out. Then like it's been sitting empty for God knows how many years. You know, but that makes sense though, because
Yeah.
the condensation probably condensated on the wire mesh and
Well,
And
and
the
if there was
temperature
any
changes
sulfur anyplace around,
Yeah,
it
the,
would have had a sulfuric
Well,
acid base.
the rest of the tractor looks like it's brand new off the factory floor from like 1960.
Yeah,
because it got oil when the rust went through the air filter.
Well, no, I meant the screen's not in good shape inside the canister. They
Yeah.
probably have to replace it too. But it's not made as a serviceable part, but you can cut it and pull it out and put in the new stuff. So they do make the mesh is a replaceable part now. But it just shocks me because like if you look at the rest of the tractor outside of some of the wires rotting off, you'd have swore it just came off out of the end of the factory, you know? And it's just like racks my brain that the oil cup for the air filter is rotted out, you know? But like I said, there wasn't any oil in it, so God knows, you know, after 30 years of sitting there, or 25 or whatever it's been,
you're talking about waxing it, polishing it. Reminds me of a good friend of mine bought a pickup. He loved that truck. He's back there waxing the bed, cleaning everything. And the woman we worked with asked to borrow it to use it on the weekend.
yeah.
And he threw used railroad ties in the back with spikes in them,
Oh,
and they didn't pick it up when they dragged them out.
Scratched it all.
Cut the bed, cut the tailgate. My friend comes into work Monday and looks at the truck. Comes up, doesn't say a word to her, goes in and closes the office because he is absolutely livid that anybody would have the nerve to do that and not say anything or not fix it.
mm,
Just gonna return it to him that way.
truck's gotta be a truck sometimes.
Yeah, a truck's a truck.
Yeah,
Well, you gotta watch what you borrow as a truck. Is it a truck yet, or is it still a car truck? Well, I understand that. To me, a truck's a truck, but then like I know a few people that truck's their baby, you know,
I,
and I don't get it, but
My truck's a truck. I get that. But if somebody threw a railroad tie in there with a spike and cut a hole through the bed,
yeah,
I'd be,
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
livid.
that's a little overt.
That's like a little over the top.
Yeah,
I used to make homemade salsa, and I would take jars of it into work. One day, I get in there, get it out, get my jar of salsa out of the fridge and open it up. Somebody's put a mouse. And the guy who did it says, "No, I thought it might have been just a little over the top." You think? I mean,
or, do you know of Hannon's Camp America, which is not far from Houston Woods, is Chris Hannon?
I don't know.
Yeah, somebody we went to school with that would have grown up in that area,
Campground.
but their site's down. Hope not. So to give you an idea, that place I was talking about is here where 732 splits off of 177. And this is the Ohio-Indiana state line.
Yeah,
So it's,
a truck.
yeah, but
I'll
definitely
get that.
worth it. They would probably have your air filter.
Yeah. But then that's what I kind of figured to be the same boat. Probably still talking a used air filter from the 60s or 50s that
Oh, yeah.
just as rusted up as the one I got. So you're probably still gonna need a new pan. So like I said, I did find a pan. It was $50. But what's crappy is the 120 CFM models. You can get the whole canister with all the stuff for 55.
Hmm.
So it was $30 or something. I found one place that
Put
had
two of them on.
the cup for $30, but it was like $15 shipping taxes.
Yeah.
Wrap it $50.
Put a T fitting on it, put two of the cheaper ones on. It would work fine.
Oh, man, but then it wouldn't be period. So how are you gonna go to the tractor shows with your
Oh, my.
mint shaped, 75-year-old tractor or whatever?
I would love to find another Gibson. It was a weirdly ugly, tractor.
Anybody going to the antique tractor show out in Georgetown? There was a guy towing two tractors today when he came back from lunch. The machine show started today, I guess. And yesterday, I don't know when exactly it started, but after he bought them, it was kind of funny because he was coming down my street with him on a trailer. I was like,
Growing up, they had no tractors in poverty district number 6.
They had these.
toy ones.
It isn't really a toy. They were neat little tractors. The rear end was out of a
What's that,
1938
Is that
GMC panel
person
van.
side or is that just?
Hmm?
I said, is that like a person size? There's no frame of reference. Is that like something this big or are we talking something you could actually sit on?
Oh, you can sit on it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a standard tractor. It's like,
I was just checking, how's
The
that?
tires off of the Ford Model 20, whatever, the small ones were the same size.
Yeah.
But the rear axle was off of an old panel van. It's a single cylinder Wisconsin engine. The transmission was out of the same panel van, but then in front of the transmission, they had stop that crap. They had a huge pulley on this side that went to a little chain pinion and then a big chain on the chain wheel on the front of the transmission. So it went from having an engine that was normally doing 1200 RPM and the input being 1200 RPM to being 40 RPM, if that. And on 8 horsepower, that thing would chug. It was nice. Tiller steering. This is the steering gear right here. This was for lifting whatever was on the front of it. This was for lifting whatever was on the back. Yeah. And it'd pull a little 2-bottom plow or a bigger single bottom plow.
Like a single planer, but.
Hmm?
Dad used to, they had one of the first single planer, corn planer.
Oh, okay.
I saw a video just a couple of days ago of a Massey Ferguson steam tractor that had been restored.
Mhm.
They were pulling 60 plow blades with
Yeah.
it. Well,
Going right along.
when they had it up gear, it was going.
Yeah.
It was pumping. And the weight they gave on it was some ridiculous thing like 38 tons.
So
Yeah.
I know where 3 of these are. And nobody will sell me one. It irritates me. One is on State Line Road, just north of Scipio. One is in Hamilton, and one is in Pennsylvania. It's a thing that I want.
You see,
The tilt steering seems weird, but once you get used to it, it makes a lot of sense. And when you turn around on the seat so you can watch what the plow is doing,
Yeah.
it works. You're facing the wrong direction, so your movement here is the wrong direction, but that makes it the right direction. It's really handy for going backwards. Or going forwards and watching what's behind you.
Yeah.
And if you hit a tree with it, you'll know.
Also, like the Massey Ferguson, we got Dad was a kid when grandpa bought it, great grandpa. And I guess I don't know what he was doing or something, but he ran it up a tree or whatever. And his grandpa came out there and shut it off. And then, of course, then they had to like back it out of the tree, which was a chore. But he said we went and started climbing the tree until it could get out. But Dad had a guy work on it a couple years back. It cost a fortune. They had so much done to it. I swear to God, they didn't bring back the same tractor. I mean, it turns on when you turn the key. It purrs like a kitten. It pulls stuff now. It turns left when you turn left instead of having to go. I think for what he spent for the repairs on it, though, he could have went and bought a. It had like half the money for a brand spanking new one. It was the kind he wanted. But
Well, we were talking, last week, I think it was, you had seen the video Smarter Every Day.
yeah,
Had you gone back and seen the bicycle that they built?
Oh, yeah.
not
Yeah.
yet.
Um, Where you're talking about steering backwards and
Mhm.
stuff, that's exactly the.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned how I hadn't gone and watched that yet, but you had it reversed or
And
geared.
what they've done is they mounted another tube in front of it and put a gear between it, so
Yeah,
it felt like you were just, holding onto a regular bike, but
and it's
when
backwards
you do this
because of
one.
Which, if it's what you start on, would work better, because most people don't realize when you're riding a bicycle, you don't steer around the corner, you steer the other direction. You steer you steer the point of contact out from underneath the center of gravity.
You steer if you want to keep upright, you steer the bike underneath your weight. So if you go this way, to stay upright, you have to turn that direction.
Yeah.
unless somebody put a pinion in it,
Yeah.
then everything's backwards.
If you're just on a bicycle and you just very gently push forward on the left side handlebar, you're not going left, you're gonna go right, really fast.
Yeah. I had an unfortunate circumstance where a guy at the Coke plant was working in a door machine, and for some reason he couldn't get the door off the Coke oven on the Whirlpool battery. So instead of calling maintenance, he takes the window out of the pressure controlled air filtered cab, to get outside the cab, and is trying to operate the door machine with the controls through the window. And you know exactly what happened. He was intending to move the door this way, and instead he moved it back and crushed himself between the cab. And you have to ask yourself, why would you go to that much trouble
To hurt yourself.
to hurt yourself?
One of my favorite YouTube channels is AVE. And maybe that's the guy's, I don't remember now, it's been a while, but he had stickers on all sorts of stuff. Not only will it kill you, it will hurt the entire time you're dying.
Oh, but the electrocution dude.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
Canadian guy, was a machinist in his former work, and started out doing tool reviews.
okay.
And
I think I know what you're talking about now.
yeah, they were,
He still does a lot of tool reviews.
I think so.
I've been watching him a lot the last month or so, off and on. And, looking for a couple different things and just getting an idea of what's good out there. And he does a checks to make sure people still make, like these drill bits are still this good. Like last year's drill bits, this brand was better. This year, this drill bits are better. And
Are you talking about Farm Tool? I think that's the name of that channel. There's another guy, talks real fast, compares 5 different things.
everything's fast to me because I run it at 2x and
Oh, I don't think we could with this guy.
I'm getting to where I can handle 3 now, but they charge for 3 now. Now you want 3x, you gotta have a subscription. I was like, yeah, that's crap.
It's not Arduino Universe. Ultra. This guy's hilarious, I think. I haven't.
I really like the stuff. Nice, no issues with it whatsoever. No. All right, perfect. As you can see, that
No,
really
it's-
is the
what?
ringer. I've used it every day.
So
Nice.
Gentlemen, brothers, welcome back to the shop. Busier, a one-armed man in a circle jerk. I got a tool for you. Wow, it's gonna blow your mind. And also, yeah, the one-armed man, the math works out perfect. I agree with you, but it doesn't make it any less awkward. Now, the tool in question, not this one. I'm just changing the blade. It is so fucking good that it changed my life. It made a certain job so much easier. Once or twice in your life you come across a tool and you wonder how you ever lived without it. This is that tool, and there is a slight problem with it.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna watch a
It comes
25
in
minute video.
Milwaukee red. Before this, I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. Still can't, but imagine a choir of angels. Oh.
nail guns.
This is a fencing stapler. And yes, I did cheat on you a little bit. I used it before I took it apart. Thing cost me an arm and a dick. And being fencing season's now over, it's getting the witch of November's come stealing. It's cold, man. Just about had to. Well, I would like to start up the fireplace, but I don't want to break the seal. Normally what you do, previous to this, what you would have to do is you would pound the post in, and then you would go along with your barbed wire, and you would take one of these staples
Those are some pretty impressive
and
statements.
beat it and bend it over, and you'd loosen your post from beating this thing in to string the wire. Well, if you pound a post every 12 feet and you're running 6 wires, you want the bottom wire because maybe you got sheep or something, which, yeah, they get out if you don't put that bottom wire in. You're pounding, half your time is pounding these Jesus bloody things in. But now, that's her. That's her. And you can even adjust the depth, what she throws the staple in with this here coarse thread. I would prefer to see an Acme thread, maybe a double start or triple start, so it goes quicker, because when you're starting just to hold the wire at the right level, but you don't want to tighten it right down because you still have to tension the one.
So, Bolter, Board of Lame Tool Reviews.
Fire.
Stop it. No, I didn't want full.
I've seen his a few times. I've seen that one actually.
I hadn't seen anything of his for actually quite a while. But yeah, this guy does some beautiful
Funny
stuff.
stuff.
To see him show you that it's like a pin nailer. There's no safety analog on that.
They put a finger on there just as well as the wire.
Yeah. And if you're gonna put it in concrete, you don't have to take the water.
This guy.
Oh, yeah.
This guy does great reviews.
Oh, yeah, he does.
It's helped me many times. So the question is that $20 tap and die set just as good as the one that costs $230? Let's find out. In the first test, we'll see which brand makes the easiest work of tapping half-inch aluminum. Then we'll see which brand delivers the best thread tolerances. We'll see which dies perform the best making all thread. Finally, we'll see which tap survives in spring steel. At a price of only $20, the least expensive brand we'll be testing is made by Pittsburgh and sold at Harbor Freight. Lifetime warranty, made of carbon.
Have you ever seen this guy?
No,
Oh, really?
but I do have that.
I do too. Actually, I've got the bigger one.
Well, I got a bigger one also, but I have.
So he has a very good technique. It's Project Farm. He uses good methods for comparing things. And at the end of the video, he
Rates them all.
goes through and gives you ratings and
How they
for
score.
this amount of
Test
money.
and did nearly the same as the gear wrench at only 110 inch-pounds. The amount of side-to-side movement is also very similar to the gear wrench at 2.1 millimeters. The die is still in really good shape. In fairness to all the brands, this was a durability test designed to accelerate wear. 5 of the 9 brands survived the entire test. Unfortunately, the die wrenches for some of the brands, such as the Irwin, prevented adequate chip removal. This caused damage to the die and really hurt the performance. Out of all the dies with a thread pitch of 18, the Irwin came out on top at only 1.9 millimeters of side-to-side movement. The Craftsman performed nearly as well at 2.1 and Gear Wrench 2.25 millimeters. In the final test, let's see which of the taps can survive threading some very hard half-inch spring steel. While attempting to drive the Pittsburgh tap, I broke the Irwin tap holder and had to switch over to the Gear Wrench tap holder. And the Pittsburgh survived the test, but it did take a lot of torque to get the job done at 358 inch-pounds. Unfortunately, there's a lot of damage to the Pittsburgh tap after it came.
Just, he has reviewed so many things.
Oh, yeah.
And it's always 4 or 5, 6 different things. And it's always from $30 to $300 and gives you good reviews of why you probably want the one that's about $60. You don't want the crappiest one. But you don't gain anything measurable once you get past this point. And yeah, he's reviewed all
If
sorts of
you're
stuff.
working with this 100% of your 8 hours every day at work,
Yeah.
it's probably worth buying the top of the line.
Mm.
If I am going to go out and use the tap and die set like twice a year,
Oh, yeah.
I can go buy another set if I.
Well, but that's the thing that he kind of shows on at least several of the ones I watch is
Mhm.
the $60 set blows the $500 set to
Yeah.
shit. You know, and he's like, that's weird. Like it does a big thing on cobalt drill bits for stainless steel, and like the
Oh, the Harbor Freight set did really well.
well, yeah, it's like it's number 2 or something, but they're like, yeah, some no name brand or this year's or whatever was like some no name brand that was like $40, and it just like smoked all of them, and it's like that's messed up. But of course, he has a link to it. And the link, they're not available anymore, and nobody carries them anywhere. And it's like, well, where do I get this set? And but I was digging around, and like there's another that CNC Titans guy or something did a big review on some cobalt bits the other day, because they do a lot of machining or whatever, and they came up with this other set that's like $20, and they're like, yeah, it's like, I mean, it's a bit, but it's for the mill. And he's like, yeah, this $20 bit smokes these $400 bits to shame. And they sat there and ran them through. They started out with like hardened steel or something like that. Then they did just aluminum or something. He's like, yeah, you guys all, well, aluminum, blah. And then went over back to like tool or normal steel. Then they did like stainless steel. And then they did like Inconel, and then like G something or other. It's like that $60 or $20 some bit blew them all off the game. And I was like, dude, that's messed up. And he's like, yeah, that's what we use all now, because it's like
I pick up a lot of bed rails out with strap for making
Mhm.
stuff. And they are just so hard.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of bit you've got, it's gonna wear it out if
Yeah.
you drill anything.
well, that's what I thought was weird, because like this guy, he'll show the bit threads are shot on some of them, like after the first drill hole. You know,
Mhm.
it was like there was like I forget what brand it was, but it was like $150 kit. The bit chipped on the first drill, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I've never seen that, 20, 30 years ago. It's like you could drill half a day with some of this stuff doing stainless and stuff. And he's breaking stuff like it's nothing, you know?
There's also a lot that has gone into materials science.
Yeah.
Metals now are better than they were 20 years ago. A lot of them.
Well, but I mean, like, stainless, it should still be stainless. It shouldn't be any harder than it was 30 years ago, unless you're talking a new version of it.
I mean, there's
Inconel didn't change. I wouldn't have thought anyhow. That's what was funny, is because they were using that like $20 bit on that milling machine. The timetables of using the cheap bit, it's like, and the other ones broke, mind you, or wore the tips down, but they did it in, say, 30 minutes. He did a pass or something with it, and it was like 90 minutes with the $20 bit, but the $20 bit still hadn't showed sign of wear. He was just saying, you get what you pay for. At some point here, there's a trade-off. Do you want your 6 hours to mill it out and still have a good bit, or do you want to bang it out and pitch your $300 bit after every other part? Which was an interesting model to look at that point when you're dealing in Inconel. But
through all the different aspects of my career is I've given money to Snap-on, Cornwall, to Mac, to Craftsman, Pecton, Harbor Freight.
whatever tool gets the job done at the time.
At this point, if I was buying a tool that I wanted to last a long time, it would be Tecton.
Yeah.
Their stuff is amazingly good.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've got a really good finish. You take a couple of Tecton sockets and ring them together, and they sound like glass, but they're not. I mean, they're tough. They see right now. I'd rather get a $70 Tecton socket set than a $300 Snap-on.
Well, yeah, Snap-on's nothing what it used to be. That's what's kind of funny watching is the Icon.
Mm-hmm.
The Harbor Freight beats
Oh, yeah.
half the categories now, and they're third the price or fourth the price.
Yep. Oh, and it is time. We got to go. Art, thank you for joining. Sorry on whatever was going on with your audio. And see you next week. Good night.
Good night.
But yeah, that review